Hello and welcome back. Class number 36. My God, we've been waiting 20 minutes to start this class. I've been sitting here. ¿Cuándo van a empezar? When are they going to start? Finally. Everything is ready. Yeah, everything is ready. Even my makeup, even the microphone, the cameras, the lights, everything is ready for you. Because all of this is prepared and organized and designed for you, okay? To make sure that your English progresses. Asegurarse de que tu inglés progresa o progrese. To make sure that your English progresses. To make sure that you improve day by day, day in and day out, day after day. He dicho tres formas, día tras día. Day by day, day after day, day in, day out, day in, day out. Every single day. Every day. Every single day. Lo remarco un poco más. Every day is todos los días. Every single day, todos los días sin parar. Every single day. We want to see progress in your English. Okay, class number 36, but I'm going to review class 35. I'm going to go over some of the aspects of class 35 if I can concentrate. Sometimes I can't concentrate because Maria is making noise, okay? She's the floor technician or the floor manager. And she knows that a little bit of noise doesn't enter the microphone. So it's no problem. She can make some noise in the background, al fondo. And it doesn't enter the microphone. You can't hear it, but I can. Okay? And when I'm trying to concentrate on you, and I have little things, it drives me nuts. It drives me mad. It drives me insane. It drives me crazy. It drives me up the wall. 5 veces para decir que subo por la pared, me subo por las paredes. It drives me. Ello me conduce. Si yo me vuelvo loco, yo digo, I'm going, me estoy volviendo loco. I'm going crazy. Curiosamente usamos el verbo to go. To go crazy, con el verbo to go, simplemente ir loco, literalmente. Es volverse uno mismo loco. Pero cuando otro te vuelve loco, no es que no decimos go, decimos conducir. Me conduce a la locura. She is driving me crazy. She's driving me mad. She's driving me nuts. Nuts son tuercas o frutos secos. Nuts. She's driving me nuts means crazy. She's driving me insane. Insane is demente, es insane, es no cuerdo. Sane, escrito sane, no significa sano. Bueno, sí, significa sano de mente. Cuerdo. Insane es no sano de mente. Ok, loco. She's driving me insane. Y por último, me está conduciendo paredes arriba. O sea, me subo por las paredes. She's driving me up the wall with her little noises. She doesn't care. Y le da igual encima. Y encima, ¿cómo se dice? Y encima. And top of it, y encima de ello, and on top of it, she doesn't care. Le trae sin cuidado. She doesn't care. It's my problem. Her job is to prepare things for the next segment. And if it requires making a little bit of noise, me tengo que aguantar. Yeah. ¿Cómo decís en español? Garlic and water? Garlic is ajo, right? And water is agua. I remember an expression, okay? Garlic and water. All right. Camera number 1, okay? All right. Un poco de repaso. A little bit of review to go over. Yo antes no tenía canas. I didn't used to have gray hair. Antes, en mi opinión, era mejor profesor que ahora. I used to be a better teacher than now. Antes fui buen padre. O era buen padre. In Spanish, I don't know if to say fui o era. I really don't know. Spanish is difficult. I used to be a good father. Now my children are grown and they don't need me anymore. They don't need me anymore. So really, I'm not sure if I'm a good father anymore. But I used to be a good father. Okay? Now I drink water in class. But I used to drink coffee in class, not water. But I don't anymore. I used to live in Oklahoma. Yeah. I don't live there anymore. Clearly, I live in Spain now. But I used to live in Oklahoma, and I used to live in Texas. Yeah. I used to be 1 meter 80. Yeah. Now I'm 1 meter 79. Why have I lost a centimeter? Could it be old age? I used to be taller than I am now. I'm starting to lose faculties, I guess, supongo. Yeah. I used to have more energy than I have now. I used to be able to stuff a basketball or dunk. Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's true. I used to be able to jump like a gazelle. I can still jump well, but not like I used to be able to jump. I used to be able to impress people with my ability to jump and to run, but not anymore. I'm too old to do these things. These things are for young people. But I used to be able to impress people with that. Yeah. You know, I used to be able to remember things well. I used to be able, antes podía o sabía, I used to be able to remember 20 things simultaneously and do 20 things at the same time. Now I'm lucky if I can remember one thing. Okay? But now I'm more strategic in my thinking, which is better. I didn't used to be able to think strategically, and now I can. So I have other strong points that I didn't used to have. And I have lost some abilities that I used to possess. Okay? Used to, el pasado, es pasado, cuando expresas en el pasado cosas, acciones, vivencias, etcétera, que ya no son válidos, que ya no se aplican. Y nunca se dice, repito lo de ayer, nunca mencionas el tiempo. Es incorrecto decir, I used to live in Oklahoma in the 1960s. It's not correct. I lived, pasado simple, I lived in Oklahoma during the 1960s. Yes, I used to live in Oklahoma. Yes. There's a teacher, hay un profesor en Vaughan. There's a teacher, a good teacher, a very famous teacher in Vaughan, who used to be a priest. Antes era cura. Tiempo A. He used to be a priest. Of course, now he's not. There's another very good teacher on our team who used to be a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. Used to. Okay. I'll be back in a few minutes after our next teacher. We have a lot of work to do today. Okay? See you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Richard. Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah, and we're going to start our review in just a moment. But first, let's say hello to my student for today, Beatriz. Hi, Beatriz.
Hello, Hannah.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you. How are you feeling today?
I feel great. I feel very good today. So we're going to do a review from our previous class.
Okay.
Okay, so are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Okay, so I hope you're ready. We're going to start our review right now. My hair isn't green anymore.
Did your hair used to be green?
Perfect, muy bien. Did your hair used to be green? Here we're practicing, again, used to be, used to be. Did your hair used to be green? Okay. I don't like artichokes anymore.
Did you like...
Did you?
Did you used to like... What did you say, sorry?
Artichokes.
Artichokes.
Yes, artichokes.
What's that?
Artichokes are alcachofas.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let me hear you say artichokes.
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 Eso es.
Okay.
Okay, good. So, I don't like artichokes anymore.
Did you used to like artichokes?
Good, muy bien. So, I know alcachofas, artichokes. Both in Spanish and in English, that word is very difficult.
Yeah.
Alcachofas, complicado, eh? And then artichokes is also complicated. So, did you used to like artichokes? Did you used to like pizza? Did you used to like beer? So remember, we're using used to, sin de, okay, sin de, because in afirmativo sí, ponemos de. Yes, I used to like artichokes. Ahora sí, used con de al final. Pero when we have auxiliares, quitamos la de. Okay, so did you used to like artichokes? Yes, I used to like artichokes. He doesn't read the newspaper anymore.
Did he used to read the newspaper?
Good, repeat again.
Did he used to read the newspaper?
Great. Did he used to read the newspaper? Did he used to read a magazine every day? Did he used to read a comic book every morning? They don't play soccer anymore.
Did they used to play soccer?
Very good. Did they used to play soccer or football? Claro, Americans, we say soccer. I'm sorry. But of course, as you know, in the rest of the world, everyone says football, but Americans, we say soccer. So did they used to play soccer? Did they used to play football? Did they used to play hockey? Did they used to play tennis? This class isn't for beginners anymore.
Did this class used to be for beginners?
Okay, muy bien. Did this class used to be for beginners? Okay, did this class used to be for beginners? Well, actually, yes, it used to be for beginners, and now we're with advanced. So it goes beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But you can watch this class at any level. If you're a beginner, you can watch this class too. Okay, we're going to continue. His neighbor is fat.
Did
His neighbor. Now we're changing.
was.
So la segunda parte we're going to look at no es para tanto. No
Oh,
es para
sorry.
tanto.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So now, well, his neighbor is fat.
His neighbor is fat, but he's not that fat.
Eso es. Muy bien. So his neighbor is fat, but he's not that fat. Es gordito, pero no es para tanto. No es tan gordo, right? So his neighbor is fat, but he's not that fat. Okay, English is difficult.
English is difficult, but it's not that difficult.
Okay, very good. English is difficult, but it's not that difficult. And remember, difficult, how do we pronounce difficult? Let me hear you.
Difficult?
Okay, bien, good. Beatriz said it perfectly. Difficult, difficult. Remember, we never say difficult. Never, nunca. Okay, nunca. All right, her house is big.
Her house is big, but it's not that big.
Very good. Her house is big, but it's not that big. And also you can say, por supuesto, you can change the contraction. Her house is big, but it isn't that big, right? We can say both forms and they're both absolutely correct. Okay. This cake is delicious.
This cake is delicious, but it's not that delicious.
Okay, good. Delicious. Delicious.
Delicious.
Delicious.
Delicious.
Good. Muy bien. Again.
Delicious.
Okay, muy bien. Delicious, delicioso. Delicious, delicious. So this cake is delicious, but it's not that delicious. Next example, they're rich.
They are rich, but they aren't. They aren't that rich.
Okay, good. Repeat. Aren't.
Aren't.
Good. ¿Una sílaba o dos sílabas?
One syllable.
Okay, good. One syllable. So aren't.
Aren't.
Repeat again.
Aren't.
Okay. Oh, aren't? No, aren't.
Aren't.
Eso es. Again, aren't.
Aren't.
Perfect. Now, toda la frase.
Their house is.
No,
they
they're
are
rich.
They are rich, but they aren't so rich.
They aren't that rich.
Oh, sorry. They are rich, but they aren't that rich.
Okay, bien. Let me repeat. They're rich, but they aren't that rich. Okay, great. So keep practicing at home, and I'll see you next time. Back to Richard. Bye-bye.
All right, welcome back. A few minutes ago, Maria said to me, don't sit to your right or to your left. Yeah, I said, fine, fine. She told me not to sit to my left. She told me to sit in the middle on the green mark. You can't see it, but there's a green mark here. And a few minutes ago, she told me, in the abro comillas, quote, Richard, please sit in front of the green mark. Yeah, I said, fine, okay, si buena. And so she told me to sit in front of the green mark. Okay? Camera one. Direct speech, indirect speech. Direct speech, indirect speech. Literalmente el habla directa y el habla indirecta, traducido literalmente. Direct speech es cuando abres comillas. Pepe dijo, no te vayas. El habla indirecta. Pepe dijo que yo no me fuera. O sea, Pepe me dijo, Richard, no te vayas. ¿Qué es lo que Pepe dijo? Pepe me dijo que no me fuera. Eso es indirect speech, el otro. Pepe said to me, he said, Richard, please don't go. So, Pepe begged me not to go. To be or not to be. To go or not to go. Pepe me rogó que no me fuera. Me suplicó que no me fuera. He begged me, please, not to go. Yes. And I said to Pepe, I turned to Pepe and I said, Pepe, get lost. Piérdete. A freír espárragos, como decís aquí. Get lost. So I turned and I told Pepe to get lost. I told Pepe to get lost. I didn't tell Pepe not to get lost. I told him to get lost because he's trying to control my life. All right? And then Pepe said to me, if you don't stay, I won't pay you the next time. Pepe said to me, he looked at me and he said, Richard, if you go, you'll lose this job. If you leave, si te marchas, you'll lose this job. Entre comillas. He said, quote, if you leave, you'll lose this job, unquote. So what did Pepe tell me? He told me that if I left, I would lose this job. Claro, me dijo que si me marchara, perdería este empleo. Eso es el reported speech, el habla reportada, literalmente como lo decimos en inglés, o el habla indirecta. Ok, entonces, puesto que cuando narramos no solemos abrir comillas y cerrar comillas. Bueno, a veces sí. Oh, Jenny me dijo, yo estoy cansada. Y yo le dije a Jenny, pues yo estoy cansado también. Y Jenny me dijo, pues vamos a acostarnos. Y yo le dije, no quiero acostarme. That's direct speech. That's speaking about a past event, opening quotes and closing quotes. Do you understand? And that's not really a natural way or a recommended way to speak. Although sometimes people speak that way when they narrate conversations. They create like a book. But reported speech is, Maria told me that she was tired. Me dijo que estaba cansada y yo le dije que también estaba cansado. Maria told me that she was tired. And I told her that I was tired too. And so she recommended that we go to bed. And I said, well, I don't feel like going to bed. I prefer to stay awake. Okay? And John Kennedy. You remember John Kennedy? Well, some of you remember him and other people know him from the news or from history books. Well, John Kennedy was elected President of the United States in November 1960. I was 8 years old. Yeah. And about 2 or 3 days later, I turned 9. Because the presidential elections in the United States are held, the elections are held on the Tuesday after the second Monday. No, perdona. The Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Do you understand? The presidential elections in the United States are always held, celebradas. They are always held on the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Which means, if the first day of November, the 1st of November, falls on a Tuesday, the elections cannot be held because there has to be a Monday in November before. So, if the first day of November falls on a Tuesday, that means the elections will be on the 8th of November because the first Monday is on the 7th. So the next Tuesday is the 8th. And the earliest possible date for an election is the 2nd of November, which means the first Monday in November falls on the 1st, in this case. So the possibility of the presidential elections in the United States is between the 2nd and the 8th, depending on where the first Monday falls. Dependiendo de, según, cuando caiga. Depending on when the first Monday falls. Now, my birthday is the 9th of November. So, it means Kennedy was elected president in 1960 when I was 8. But I turned 9 7 days later, 6 days later, or 1 day later. Okay? And when he turned president, well, he was elected president, but he was inaugurated on later, 2.5 months later, on January the 20th. And when he was giving his speech, he said to the American people, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Aquí hay licencia poética, porque dijo al principio, ask not. Eso es antiguo inglés. Hoy en día diríamos, don't ask, no preguntes. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Entonces, yendo al habla reportada, como traduzco yo esto, reported speech, Kennedy, what did Kennedy say? What did he tell the Americans? He told them not to ask what their country could do for them, but, sino más bien, but what they could do for their country. Okay? Kennedy didn't tell them that the government was going to take care of everything and solve their life, como piensan algunos, sobre todo aquí. Kennedy didn't tell the American people that the government would solve their life. He told them not to ask what their country could do for them, but what they could do for their country. Is it clear? All right. A few minutes for our station break and our sponsors, and I'll be right back. Okay, un rápido repaso. Me dijo que no lo hiciera. He told me, él me dijo, he told me not to do it. Me dijo que lo hiciera ahora. He told me to do it now. Me pidió que llamara ahora. He told me to call now. He asked me, me pidió. He asked me to call now. Me pidió que no la llamara. He asked me not to call her. Me suplicó que no lo hiciera. He begged me not to do it. Me suplicó que lo hiciera más tarde. He begged me to do it later. Not to do, to do. To call, not to call. He told me to call. He told me not to call. Maria's telling me to stop. She's telling me not to continue. She's telling me to stop. Bye.
Thank you, Richard, and hello everyone. I'm Natasha, your teacher, and today I'm here with a very special student. I'm sure you all know her. Her name is Susana. How are you, Susana?
Fine, thank you.
Tell me something interesting about how you improved your English lately.
I keep reading.
What's the last book you read in English?
Well, it was called African Nights or something like that.
Okay, very good. So you always read in English?
I try, not always, but
Okay.
I try.
Okay, good. You should try to read in English because, again, if it's a book you've already read in Spanish, it's very easy to read, okay? If it's something that you like, or if you watch the movie and you want to read the book, it's a good way of practicing, okay? All right, let's start with the new point of the day, okay? The new grammar point that Richard already explained, as you know, is the imperative in reported speech, okay? So if someone says to you, don't open the door, and then you said, what did he say? He told me not to open the door, okay? So I'm going to say a lot of sentences in direct speech, and both you and Susana have to rephrase or repeat it in indirect speech, okay? So he told me, or he told her, and so on, okay? We're going to work on this because it's a very, very common mistake, and it's a bit tricky, okay? So we're going to try and make the most of time. Aprovechar el tiempo, make the most of time, okay? Let's start. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The first one. I said to my neighbor, don't step on the lawn. Yes? Okay, so I told him, she laughs. When Susana doesn't understand, instead of saying, I don't know, she laughs. So I don't know why she's laughing. Okay, so Susana.
They told me.
I told him.
I told him not to stand on the lawn.
Not to step on the lawn.
Don't.
No, I told him
I
not
told-
to step on the
I
lawn.
told him not to step on the lawn.
Very good. What is a lawn?
The césped.
Yeah, the césped.
Césped.
Both languages. I told him not to step on the lawn. Okay, very good. Next sentence for Susanna as well. Okay, I will say to my children, don't leave the milk out of the fridge.
You tell.
You will
You will tell them not to
leave
the milk
out of.
the fridge.
Okay, now all together.
You would tell them.
You will?
You would tell them.
You will.
Tell.
I can hear would.
You would.
Will.
You will tell them not to leave the milk out of the fridge.
Out of the fridge. Okay, she gets muddled up sometimes. So I'll say it again and then we'll get Susanna to say it. And you say it at home as well, okay? So I will tell my kids, don't leave the milk out of the fridge. So in reported speech. Very good. I will tell them not to leave the milk out of the fridge, okay? I get muddled up too. Susanna, repeat.
You would tell them not to leave the milk out of the fridge.
Out of the fridge. Very good. The next one, okay? And actually, the next one for you at home, okay? The priest said to the boy, don't lie. What did he tell him? He told him not to lie. He told him not to lie, okay? Very good, okay? The next one is for Susanna, yeah? Jack said to me, don't tell people off. What's tell people off? What is to tell someone off?
Regañar.
Regañar, very good. I already taught this to Susanna and she remembered, okay? To tell off is regañar, okay? So I'll repeat. Jack said to me, don't tell people off.
He will tell you.
He told you.
He told you not to tell off people.
Not to tell people off. One more time.
He will tell you.
He told you.
He
Past.
told you not to tell people off.
Very good. Do you agree with him that I shouldn't tell people off?
No, you shouldn't
Okay.
tell people
Do
off.
I tell you off? No.
No.
No, I never.
not really.
Only if she doesn't do her homework, okay? If she doesn't do her homework, then I tell her off. Okay, the next one for you at home, okay? Laura said to you, don't get stressed out about work, okay? Don't get stressed out about work. What did Laura say to you? Very good. Laura told me not to get stressed out about work. Laura told me not to get stressed out about work, okay? The next one is for Susanna. You ready?
Yes.
The mother said to her son, don't worry, everything will work out. What is to work out?
Funcionará.
Yeah,
Se
everything
arreglará.
will work out, saldrá bien, okay? So the mother said to her son, don't worry, everything will work out.
She would tell.
She told her son.
She told her son, don't worry, everything's.
No, that's direct. So in indirect, she told him
She told him not to worry
that and that,
and that everything was gonna work out.
okay, or that everything would work out. One more time.
She told him not to worry because everything was gonna work out.
Okay, or remember, because I said will, the most common thing is for you to change that into would. Will in reported speech goes to would. So the mother told her son not to worry and that everything would work out. Repeat at home. Very good. The mother told him not to worry and that everything would work out. Let's see if Susanna can say it.
She told him not to worry because everything will work out.
Very good. The next one is for you, Susanna, as well, okay? Are you ready? Rachel said to Mark, don't turn the music up.
She told him not to turn the music up.
Very good. She told him not to turn the music up, okay? The next one is for you, okay? At home. The man said to Sarah, don't take the leash off your dog. What's the leash? Do you know at home? Let's ask Susanna.
No, I don't know.
La correa? Do you say correa for a dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The leash is a correa, okay, for a dog, for example. So the man said to Sarah, don't take the leash off your dog. So what happened? Very good. He told her not to take the leash off the dog. Did you get that one right? Okay, let's move on. Let's see if Susanna gets this one right. Are you ready? I said to you, don't worry about making mistakes.
You told me not to worry about making mistakes.
Very good, and that's true. I did tell you, right?
Right.
Okay, the next one, okay, for you as well, okay? Sandra said to Sam, don't button up your shirt.
She told him not to button up her shirt.
Very good. What is to button up your shirt?
Abrocharse, abotonarse.
Yeah, abotonarse, okay? And to button up to the top. So you button up your shirt, you button up your jacket, you button up anything that has buttons, okay? And if it has a zip, what's a zip?
Zip up.
Zip up, okay? Like a jacket. What is zip? How do you say zip?
Cremallera.
Cremallera, okay? So you say zip up your jacket if it's a zip, or button up if it has buttons, okay? All right, the next one, okay? I said to you, don't ever stop studying English, okay? I said to you, don't ever stop studying English.
You told me not to stop studying.
Not to ever.
Not ever.
Not to ever stop studying English.
Not to ever stop studying English.
Again.
You told me not to ever stop studying English.
Okay, this is tricky, okay? Because after the to, you have to put the ever, okay? I told you not to ever stop studying English, okay? Or I told you to never stop studying English, which is maybe another way of saying it, okay? Let's see if Susana can say it the other way. I told you to never stop studying English.
You told me to never stop studying English.
Okay, that's true, okay? Never stop studying English, and never stop studying English to you at home as well, okay? I'll see you next time. See you, bye.
Okay, welcome back. You know, I've decided to speak only to camera number 2. But just before starting, Jorge told me not to speak only to camera 2. I had decided to concentrate on camera 2 and to forget about camera 1. I decided not to use camera 1. Sino más bien, but rather, camera 2. But rather es importante, pero mucho menos importante del que es not 2 y 2 aquí. I decided, while I was waiting for you to finish with the other teacher, I was thinking, and I said, you know, this idea of changing cameras is for the birds. Es un dicho en inglés. Esto de cambiar cámaras es para pájaros, es para locos. I'm going to concentrate on camera 2, this one. And so I decided to focus on camera 2 only. I decided not to use camera 1. I decided decir no usar, fijaos. To be or not to be, en este caso to use or not to use. What did I decide? I decided not to use camera 1. I decided to use camera 2 only, and then Jorge told me not to use camera 2 only, and he told me to change to camera 1 after about 1 minute. But this is 3 minutes, so I'm not paying much attention. And la atención se paga en inglés, recordad. I'm not paying much attention to Jorge, so I will do what he says, okay? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Decido no hacerlo. Es difícil no hacerlo. It's difficult for me. Well, personally, it's difficult for me to change cameras. It's difficult for me to change. It's hard. It's hard for me. No es que sea duro, porque no hay dureza involucrada aquí, pero es difícil. Usamos la palabra hard, duro, como mi cabeza. It's hard. Normally we say hard. We really, to tell you the truth, would you like for me to be sincere with you about the English language? Well, in all sincerity, I must tell you, I'm sorry to tell you, but the adjective difficult is not used very often in English. We usually use the word hard. Algebra is hard for some people, it's easy for others. Really, the opposite of easy is hard, if we're speaking about everyday language. Y me cuesta, I have trouble focusing on the camera with so many lights. It's hard for me to stay focused. It's hard for me to look into the camera and keep my eyes open in a normal way with so many lights shining at me. It's hard for me not to blink too much. To blink, I'm blinking more than usual to protect my eyes from the bright lights. And it's hard for me to keep from blinking. ¿Habéis entendido, no? Pero analicemos lo que acabo de decir. Es difícil para mí no dejar de pestañear o parpadear. It's hard for me not to blink, or it's hard to me to keep from blinking. Toma. To keep from blinking es evitar parpadear. It's hard for me to keep from blinking, but I need to try not to blink. Yeah, it's difficult not to blink. It's hard for me not to blink. Yeah, I need to concentrate. And after about 30 minutes teaching English on television, I'm starting to need eye drops. So during the break, when you're with other teachers, sometimes Maria comes and puts eye drops in my eyes. Yeah, y nunca acierta. And it always goes. The eye, how do you say it? The colidio. The eye drops fall down my face and things. And then the girls need to come to put the makeup again. It's a mess. But it's hard not to blink too much with so many lights shining on your face. Yeah. And so sometimes I decide not to look directly at the camera. Sometimes I decide not to look directly at the camera, and I focus my eyes on a little piece of metal just above the camera. But you don't realize it, but it's easier on my eyes. My eyes suffer less. It's like when you look at people. Sometimes it's not easy to look at a person right in the eyes and to hold your stare or your look for a long time. But if you focus on a point just above the person's eyes, the eyebrows, these are your eyebrows, or just at the lower part of the forehead here, and you look like that, you're not looking at their eyes. It's easier for you to keep your vision, to keep looking. But the other person doesn't realize that you're not looking at their eyes. You're looking just above their eyes. And so you can maintain your look, and you can make them nervous if you want. Okay? But that's not my purpose here. When I look just a little above the camera, it's to keep my eyes in good condition because of the bright lights. And it's hard for me to focus on that. It's hard for me not to blink. It's hard for me not to blink. To be or not to be. It's hard for me not to be nervous during these classes. It's hard for me to be calm and cool. All right? It's hard for me to concentrate when Maria's making so much noise. Yeah. And so I have decided not to allow her to do anything. She has to sit calmly for 8 or 9 minutes and wait for me to finish. I have decided to make her stay still. Hacer que esté quieta. Ya de una vez. Leñe, as you say. I've decided not to let her move. Okay, because it's hard for me to concentrate when she's moving around. Dos cosas aquí. He usado el verbo to decide. Y he usado la expresión it's hard for me to, o bien it's hard for me not to. He decidido no ir. I've decided not to go. Es difícil para mí no reírme a veces aquí con María. It's hard for me not to laugh. It's hard for me to keep a straight face. Porque está haciendo el ganso por ahí. And it's hard for me not to laugh. It's hard for me to keep a straight face. Así se dice. La cara impasiva, como si nada. Okay? It's hard for me to keep a straight face. It's hard for me not to laugh. So I've decided to make her stay still. I've decided not to let her move around. Mucho inglés aquí. Mucha mecánica inglesa y gramática. Ok, otro profe y luego vuelvo.
Hello, hello. My name is Fitz. You're very welcome, and thank you, Richard. We're going to begin with the 5 words, 5 vocabulary words. The first one, to illustrate, to illustrate. To injure, injure, to injure. To imply. To go for a walk. For a walk. To demonstrate. We are here today with the Queen of Students, Beatriz. How are you today?
Very well, thank you, Fritz. How are you?
Very well, very well. We're going to practice a little bit of the vocabulary with you.
Okay.
To illustrate, how do you say that in Spanish?
Ilustrar.
Okay, and in English?
To illustrate.
Beautiful, illustrate. To injure.
Lesionar.
And in English?
To injure.
Very, very good. Injure, very good. To imply.
Insinuar.
And in English?
To imply.
To imply. And again?
To imply.
Beautiful, okay. To go for a walk.
Ir a dar un paseo.
And in English?
To go for a walk.
Perfect, okay, walk. No, it's walk. Walk. And to demonstrate.
Demostrar.
Very good, and one more time in English?
To demonstrate.
Excellent. Okay, are you ready for some hard work, Beatriz?
Yes, I am.
Okay. It's a little bit complicated, but you have excellent English. Okay. So I will say a statement and you have to rephrase it with not to. So, the beginning. They made a decision that they will not go to the farewell party in the end.
They decided not to go to the farewell party in the end.
Perfect. Okay. They decided not to go to the farewell party in the end. How do you say farewell party, Beatriz?
In Spanish,
Yes.
Ir a la fiesta de... Fiesta. ¿no?
When
De-
somebody retires, for example, from work. So farewell is a way of saying adios,
Goodbye.
like goodbye.
Okay.
So a farewell party. Okay. So are you ready for some more?
Yes.
All right. I can't help crying when I watch sad movies.
It's hard not to cry
Very good.
when I watch sad movies.
Excellent. One more time. Can you repeat?
It's hard not to cry when I watch sad movies.
Excellent. Okay. Try this at home. It's hard not to cry. Not to cry when I watch sad movies. I want you to say this for me. Very good. It's hard not to cry. Beatriz, I can't help smiling when I feel happy.
It's hard not to smile when I'm feeling
Or when I feel.
or when I feel happy.
Okay. It's hard not to smile when you feel happy. It's hard not to. Okay. I can't help thinking about the heat. I can't help thinking about the heat.
It's hard not to think about the heat.
Okay, the heat.
The heat.
One more time,
The heat.
and the whole sentence.
It's hard not to think about the heat.
Very good. It's hard not to think about the heat. It's hard not to think about the heat. Beatriz, the Romans decided that they would not invade Ireland.
They decided,
Very
the
good,
Romans,
very good.
they decided not to invade Ireland.
Perfectly pronounced. One more time, it sounds very good.
They decided not to invade Ireland.
Okay, beautiful, pay attention. Like Beatrice said, they decided not to invade Ireland. The student made a decision that he will not study this weekend.
It's plural. Okay.
One student.
Okay.
One student.
He decided not to study this weekend.
Very good. He decided not to study this weekend. He decided not to study this weekend. Can you say this at home? And be careful of to study. It's not a study. Very good. Okay. The Vikings. The Vikings made a decision that they would not attack North Africa.
They decided not to attack North Africa.
Very good. And one more time, and be careful of they.
They decided not to attack North Africa.
Beautiful. Okay. Do you like Elvis Presley?
Yes, I do.
Do you know his song, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You?
I've heard it, but I don't know it by heart.
So Elvis Presley can't help falling in love with you.
It's hard not to fall in love with me.
Very good. And one more time.
It's hard not to fall in love with me.
Okay, do you know the song? I can't help. So it's hard not to fall in love with Beatriz. Okay, can you repeat? It's hard not to fall in love with her. Can you say it one more time?
It's hard not to fall in love with me.
Very good. Okay. I can't help eating too much. Me.
It's hard for him.
For me.
It's hard for you not to
Eat
eat.
too much.
Sorry, I forgot the last
Okay.
part. It's hard for you not to eat too much.
Or simply you can say it's hard not to eat too much.
Okay.
Can you repeat?
It's hard not to eat too much.
Okay. And try this at home and be careful of the pronunciation. It's hard not to eat too much. It's hard not to eat too much. Okay. Beatriz, you can't help looking well.
It's hard not to look well.
And again?
It's hard not to look well.
Okay. Beatriz can't help looking well. It's hard. Excuse me. She can't help looking well. It's hard not to look well. Okay. It's hard not to look well. Again, with decision.
Oh.
They made a decision that they will not drive the car.
They decided not to drive the car.
Excellent. The government made a decision that they will not lower taxes.
They decided not to lower the taxes.
And you
I
can
would
say just taxes.
Okay. They decided not to lower taxes.
Very good. Okay. They decided not to lower taxes. How sad. I can't help worrying about unemployment. Unemployment.
It's hard not to worry about unemployment.
Very good. And what is unemployment?
Desempleo.
Okay, so it's hard not to worry about unemployment. Okay, you have a good level, don't forget about pronunciation. It's hard not to worry about unemployment. And one last one for Beatriz. I can't help thinking about the future.
It's hard not to think about the future.
It's hard not to think about the future. Very good. Okay, so remember, it's hard not to think about the future. Don't forget to practice and practice pronunciation. Okay, thank you very much and goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to congratulate you on finishing. Fijaos que cuando digo congratulate, no digo for, digo on. I want to congratulate you on finishing class number 36. We only have 19 more classes to go. We have 19 classes left to finish the first quarter, primer trimestre. So we're moving along, we're making progress, we're improving, we're advancing little by little, step by step, slowly but surely, consolidating every step, making sure that you understand perfectly the forms, and especially making sure that you help us by repeating aloud en voz alta, por favor, repetid en voz alta todo lo que hay aquí, please, all right? See you tomorrow.